Jordan trying to shake off Starks. Oh, what a move by Jordan! Oh! LeBron James with no regard for human life. Final seconds. Bryant for the win. Iverson against Gill. The crowd on its feet. Allen for the win.
Welcome to the Sneaker History Podcast.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Sneaker History Podcast. Of course, I'm Mike. We got Rohit. We're running a two-man game today. So, without any kind of delay, Rohit, how's it going, my man?
Oh, Happy New Year, Mike. I know that we are outside the statute of limitations for when we can wish each other Happy New Year, but I don't think I've seen you since the New Year. So, sorry, Larry David. Sorry, people in our community that are going to come down with me with a fury of 1,000 suns. I just wanted to wish my guy Mike a Happy New Year. Hope you have the best year ahead of you, Mike. You know me, man. All we're doing is either rocking or we're copping. So what did you rock and cop for the very first 2023 episode of our favorite reoccurring segment?
Yeah, man. So I actually brought out an old runner, which is going to be the Adidas Supernova Cushion 7. This is one that just doesn't get a lot of love because everyone's always either talking about the, New Balance 2002s or everyone's drooling over the Nike Vomero, which I do want to try out, but these are super comfortable, mixture of Adiprene and Adiprene Plus. So, can't forget about this one. This is super nice. And I guess to keep it in the Adidas family, they release very quietly. It's on their website now. I shouldn't even tell you guys because I don't want you to go buy it. For all my Marvel fans out there, there's a Dr. Doom Stan Smith out there. It is super simple. It looks like a premium, like kind of cream colored leather. And instead of saying Stan Smith on the side, it says Dr. Doom. Inside has comic book insoles. And I think the back says it's not easy being green or something like that.
That is sick.
Right?
Why? I mean, is somebody want to catch them all? I know I'm confusing the universes, if you will, but yeah, the the Doctor Doom insoles are fantastic.
Oh, so
being green, how is this still a thing,
dude? And it's just such a quiet. Complex released a little Instagram, upcoming. I was like, let me look at the website. It's that if you go to the 35 colors of Stan Smith's, or towards the end of it, full size run, and I'm hoping they still hang around for a little while. Because I ended up buying a pair. We'll look at it at a later time. I was like, dang it, I don't want to just go crazy and buy another. So I have to wait.
Why not? Because I'm currently on the Adidas website right now. And I never realized this metric, but you get certain classifications. So this is saying this style is officially popular because 55 people have bought this in the last 24 hours. But to your point, Mike, we've got a full size run. And, as somebody that's on one side of the industry, I can't really rock these unless I want to lose my job. But this is, if you're brand agnostic, please do yourself a favor and pick you up a pair because these are fantastic. It
goes perfect with this sweatshirt too. It just got my X-Men sweatshirt going on and just Dr. Doom. Adidas, what a secret drop. You guys, you know what you did there.
No. Not only did they know what they did, they almost paid disrespect to my man, Victor Von Doom. Because if there's anything Victor Von Doom is, it is not understated. That man knows how to make an entrance, let's say. And he, along with your X-Men, represent the two biggest what-ifs. Because right now, it's kind of been mid for Marvel, and we're going a little bit into Marvel history and not sneaker history. But if they don't land the plane, so to speak, or if they don't ace the landing when it comes to the implementation of Dr. Doom and the X-Men, it might be real quiet for Marvel. So like I said, do yourself a favor, buy it for yourself. If not, buy it for me, because I wish I could buy these.
Live vicariously through my wear. Might have to happen. But what you got, Roy? What you got going on over there rocking and copping?
So from a rocking perspective, as well as a copying perspective, one of my New Year's resolutions this year is just to be out and about. And I actually took inspiration from not only the World Cup, but I know your son is going through his global football journey, which involves wearing a couple different jerseys. But one of the things that is a benefit of Nike is the Van, which is our internal sample site. And I was able to get these Phantom GTs for $30. So I will be tearing up pitches left and down, up and down, all over Beaverton. I'm so excited about these pairs. I can't even speak properly, but it's all under the guise of trying to get better because, in case your boy ever needs to do a Marvel Cinematic Universe cameo, I can't be old chunky Ned. I've got to be Indian Flash and be a little bit svelte. And then the other thing, because I haven't really pulled the trigger yet on the Jordan 37 undefeated colorway, I instead opted for the undefeated 37. They say they're basketball shorts, but these are literally some of the heaviest shorts I've ever held. They feel like a weighted blanket, but I'm excited because as Mike and I were chatting, you can never have enough camo shorts in the rotation, especially when things get warmed up. So that copping was one in mind for future seasons, but can't go wrong. Everything I've seen thus far of that undefeated collab with Paolo Banchero as the spokesperson has been nothing but flame. So keep it up, Michael. Keep it up, Paolo. Keep it up, Undefeated Brand, because you guys are killing it with that. Dare I say, a doom-like hot streak.
Well, I got to tell you something. So I know your daughter's still very young, 1 year old, right?
Yeah.
So if she decides to get into soccer, if she decides to get into any sport, just know that because I'm coaching my son, I decide, hey, you know what? If he gets cleats, I get cleats too, which is a very poor decision because we just have our doorway in our garage is just filling up with cleats. I bought him 3 like in a matter of months, and I'm like, oh, I need some too, and it's just getting out of hand. So just be ready. That will happen. If whatever sports you chooses, you will just go ahead and join in the apparel piece of it.
I, like you, my sole purpose in life when these little ones are born is to be their greatest hype man until they find one their own age. So yeah, if she wants to go ahead and do competitive tumbling, your boy's going to buy a tutu. It'll probably be a 4-4 because of how big I will be compared to everybody else in the class. But let's go for it because you know what? Dads need to be in their kids' lives. That's my one infomercial, more, rainbow for the episode.
Hey, no, you're right. And make sure it's camo. But
yeah. Here's a $1 billion idea for all our tutu enthusiasts out there. Make the camo tutu because you know what? Not only will the kids like it, the dads will like it.
Dads are going to love it.
There's nothing more gully than a bunch of dudes next to the bar in their camo tutus just ready to squan on a buddy.
Let's go. I'm ready to pull a muscle left and right. Let's do that.
Yeah. Plie up in this Humpty Bumpty. But we're not here for that. We're here for a couple of curated topics that our guy Mike has prepared for this show because it is just a 2-man game. So we'll probably power through these. Mike, what's first on the agenda?
Yeah, first on the list, since, NBA is going on as we speak, I think the Lakers are playing the Mavs right now. And speaking of, the Mavs, new players getting their own exclusive signatures now. Luka got his last year. Now we're looking at a few individuals, 3 individuals that I know of right now who are looking to have one on shelves soon if they're not there already. But we have 3 guys I want to talk about, break them down, 3 different brands. One being Ling Ning, Jimmy Buckets, the man himself, out there in Miami, just holding that team afloat right now. Which, side note, 40 for 40 free throws of the night is a magical stat that never will be broken, I feel like. So kudos to the Heat on that. But Jimmy B joining the Ling Ning family with the likes of Dwayne Wade, with D'Angelo Russell, probably other few players out there. He has a pretty sweet-looking shoe. It's the JB1. It should be releasing here soon. I think we have a release date of January 14th. January 14th. So this week. So I guess you guys will probably hear this after the fact. But it's a pretty sleek shoe. I'm really impressed by it with a world full of, and I don't say this in a disrespectful way, a world full of copycats in the sense of a lot of the same design language on a sneaker. The JB1 has really standout potential, I feel like. If Ling Ning were to push the shoe hard in the States, Jimmy Butler, I think, has a big enough fan base to make a dent in some of these the sales, especially with that vacancy left by Kyrie. I don't know. It's a good-looking shoe. I would love to get it on foot. I know we can rely on our brothers from another channel, the guys at Wear Testers, Chris and the team there, to get a performance review probably sooner than later. But I'm interested to see what this holds because I think they're going to put out a great product for them.
Yeah, off of initial looks alone, it's unique in a good way. And I think the Miami Sunrise is the perfect motif to kind of commemorate this launching of a new silhouette. I am taken back by the design in a way that I didn't anticipate because I don't want to say this because this comes across extremely biased, but then again, I work where I work, so apologies if I'm offending your sensibilities from a purist perspective, but this colorway and this structure is not something I would imagine necessarily with Jimmy Butler in mind because Jimmy Butler is a heavy, rugged type of dude. I would expect something almost to be like a LeBron-esque shoe, because my man usually, when he goes full Super Saiyan, he puts the whole city of Miami on his back. And to your point, he has these stat lines every now and then that you have to kind of be like, did Wilt do this or did Jimmy do this? Because that 40 for 40 is pretty impressive. Now, that being said, I am really intrigued by this, and because all of our topics are a reoccurring circle, the thing that got me most about the JB1 is they're actually calling their insoles the Doom insole. So there you go, Victor Von Doom. Like I said,
this might be a sign.
Everywhere. You just have to know where to look and how to look for it. I am intrigued to see what else they do, because this first colorway is fantastic. But if we don't get that big head coffee or whatever his coffee was inside the bubble colorway, and I know we've got a precedence, especially with another JB, the Jordan brand, giving us so many mocha inspired kicks. Come on, let's get it for JB, because I think as of right now, I'm very intrigued by this. And that's something I don't necessarily say about Li Ning. And Mike, my question to you, because I think you have a better overall understanding of their roster, is he automatically the best active player on their roster from an endorser perspective?
Yeah, I was sitting there while you were saying, I was thinking, like, who else is there? Like I said, I know D'Angelo Russell, but he's been fairly quiet this season. Ever since Cat went down with the Timberwolves, they've been a quiet team, so it's not really, being pushed hard, even though it seems like Dwayne Wade kind of handpicked D'Angelo Russell to be his successor of the line. I would have to say I think JB is going to be the strongest in a sense of talent, presence, and the team. The better market. I mean, Miami's a great market. He's going to be able to do a lot of things with that community down there when it comes to the shoe. So I think he's going to be able to, just like you said, go full Super Saiyan, but not on the court only, but in the sneaker selling fashion to, I think this is a way for Li Ning to come in and, hey, let's push some, get some American territory, because I think just design language, looking at things like, what you would know is like the Zoom, GT cut, that really gives me that same kind of, that vibe there. So I think this would be something that, those guards, heck, I guess anyone wears a low cut shoe now like that. Anybody playing hoops, they're hooping, they're gonna gravitate towards that kind of shoe. So I think it's a good chance to do very well.
Yeah. And like you said as well, the person that we most associate with Li Ning has been Wade, or so to speak, with Dwayne Wade's colorway and Dwayne Wade's model. But at the same time, there's enough homage to this shoe that I feel like it's a part of that family tree, if you will. Mm-hmm. So good job as well, because I think the best sneakers are the ones that pay homage to the ones in the past, but then they carve their own trail and carve their own path. So I think JB1 might be that. And you know what? I won't even say might. I think it is a step in the right direction. So I'm really excited to see what else they do with this going forward.
Yeah. And last thing on that, you say you need a big head coffee colorway. I need a Rasta colorway to commemorate his offseason dreads, because that was a show within itself, because the press conferences were hilarious.
Now, secretly, he might be the funniest dude in the league. Because,
he might be.
I mean, we're so used to our NBA pitchmen being funny in the commercial sense, but Jimmy will let you know. And he's angry funny, and I feel like if given the option, I would always like an angry funny person in my life as opposed to like a jovial funny person. So I guess in the Daily Show sensibility, I'm a little bit more Lewis Black than I am Trevor Noah, but everybody has their time and place. But give me a good angry rant anytime. So
right there with you. All right, so let's transition brands now. And I hate to start out like this because I haven't had it in hand, but just initial views. I'm a little underwhelmed, but again, I never played in it, but that's going to be the Nike Jaw 1. I expected a little bit more design language on this one. I'm going to assume it performs well because Jaw is probably the second coming of Derrick Rose. And God bless his knees. I hope they, hope they sustain. But I don't know. Just for someone like him, I expected, I don't want to say eccentric. I don't want him to get crazy. We don't want spikes coming off of it. But you look at some of the other
first offerings of,
yeah.
The only guy I think initially make a comparison to is maybe Kyrie, maybe KD as well, in terms of these super hyped young players that from day one have just been pushed to the moon, and rightfully so. And what takes me back about the Josh shoe is it feels very safe for a player that isn't safe. And I would say, if you're describing somebody with the likes of a Ja Morant, I love the Derrick Rose comparison. I just think this dude is inherently angry. There's a certain chip on his shoulder. And I think we have this conversation a lot. And dare I say, because I'm quick to hyperbole in this, I don't think we've seen an athlete match his city more in terms of cultural identity and intensity since either Derrick Rose in Chicago or Allen Iverson in Philly with Ja in Memphis. That dude is the personification of grit and grind. Every time he sets foot on the court, with all due respect to N1, he's looking to collect bones and he's collecting souls. The way he dunks on people, the way he's so violent. And I hate using that word to describe him, but that is really the one thing that you can do when you watch him, especially in these games where everything gets so congested, because as of right now, Ja has no shot, but that doesn't matter because the dude will jump over you.
Literally.
And I think, yeah, literally. Wait, if there's anybody that's going to give us a Frederick Weiss type dunk, it's going to be Ja and poor unsuspecting, usually Eastern European center. So please, if you have a Bogdanovic or a Milosevic or a Kronovic or anybody ending in itch in your NBA life,
you're in danger.
Just tell them about that boy in Memphis.
You're in actual danger for your life. You might want to get your contract secured before you get dunked on by John Morant. But you know what? I'm going to make the assumption we're going to probably get some pretty dope colorways of the sneaker. I feel like they're going to probably push some pretty cool, some loud things. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I get a lot of PG1 in this shoe when I look at it.
I was going to say Janowski, which is kind of tongue firmly because you can't spell Janowski without Ja. And
you know what? I didn't even. I look at the midsole. I see Janowski now. Like when I see that, that's crazy.
I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I guess it comes across that. Apologies to the designer of the shoe, who's a friend of mine. But there's just something inherently safe, and that's not something we're used to with exciting players like Ja Morant. And to your point, I think we are going to see some heat coming down the pipeline. It's just right now, you almost have to have your preliminary intro from a colorway perspective, test the waters.
Yeah.
And while there is a flashiness to that initial colorway, I just feel like they've left something out in the court or on the design table, but we can't judge somebody on just that preliminary colorway. Now, I would ask you this, knowing next to nothing about it, especially in terms of how it performs.
Yeah.
What one aesthetic change would you make to this shoe, Mike, to kind of bring it back to match the essence of one Ja Morant?
Well, you know what? It's something I would change about the shoe would be the sole kit, the tooling used. It just looks, again, and you made the perfect comparison. The Janowski, it looks very slim, very streamlined, very, hey, I'm gonna looks like the basketball shoe. And then this is, again, I'm trying to say this with no disrespect because I no disrespect toward the shoe, but it seems like more of a kind of dual performer for a kid who's going to school in the shoe, but also playing on the playground with it.
Yeah, and maybe that's the audience for this shoe is the fact that as you look at some of the marketing material from Nike with regards to the Ja Morant one of the things that caught my eye the most was this significant bullet point around the fact that this is Nike's own acknowledgement of the first Gen Z athlete. Mm-hmm. So whether we want to admit it or not, when we see that type of language, you're inevitably ushering in a new era, whether you mean to do it or not. Yeah. And I like your call out of the fact that I think this is probably meant for a high durable kid shoe because a lot of these kids are going to take that fearlessness that we associate with a Ja Morant and apply it to not only the basketball court, but other facets of their life. And now it's hung somewhat firmly in my cheek. Maybe that's the reason why we did the Janowski parallel to this, because the way that man gets air, it's actually closer to a skateboarder than it is a basketball player. And the way he contorts his body is similar to what we would expect from a skateboarder spinning on his or her axis. So maybe the Janowski thing is warranted because that's the inspiration that they're going for. But we're also probably giving them a little bit too much credit. But I don't know, audience, please get back to us on our Discord, on our socials. What do you guys make of this shoe? Because as of right now, things are quiet and it's almost eerily quiet.
Yep. No, I'm right there with you. And really to round out the new class of Player 6 coming out. So I almost have this question of, before we get into it, Roy, just in your opinion, and again, I know your position on it, you can answer this as not answering as possible. Do you feel that with all the SIGs they're trying to put out now, are either A, are new designers getting a chance, or B, are they stretching those 1, 2, 3 designers too thin to where maybe we're not getting the best out of them? Because I look at this new one that we have coming out for Jason Tatum, and I'm looking like, we okayed that one, huh?
So, I mean, I'll be devil's advocate in this sense, Mike. I'm familiar with a lot of the designers that make up the Nike identity, if you will, of footwear. And the comparison I want to make is you get to a point, especially with certain big teams, that they don't want to give a chance to young players because all they covet is that W. And the only way you can get W is using your experienced players, your players that are there almost more likely not to make a mistake than they are wanting to try something and then a mistake happens. Because I do almost feel that I know one person in particular has got 3 upcoming signature athletes, and that seems daunting to me when you just have one. So by adding 3, like whether you like to admit it or not, your attention is going to divert. And I get that there may be blending characteristics amongst multiple colorways and multiple silhouettes, especially if they're sharing the same papa or the same mama that's designing them.
Yeah.
But I do think there is something to be said of, as we're kind of ushering in this new era, this post-LeBron era from a player perspective, we should also think about that from a design perspective, because familiarity breeds contempt. And if we see the same 4 designers over and over again, whether we like it or not, we are going to get somewhat tired of it. So why not give somebody new a chance? Because if for no other reason, it's valuable reps. And like we were saying with the Ja 1, you can't necessarily judge something off its first colorway or its first design. Let some of these guys make their initial rookie mistakes in their first shoe. And you know what? Model 2, Model 3, Model 4 is going to be all the more better for it, because it's this attitude that you're cultivating of, I can't make a mistake. And I can speak for somebody who's been in a high-profile industry. When you're a young gun, all you want is an opportunity. And sometimes you won't get that opportunity because people are too scared for you to make a mistake. But making a mistake is a part of life. So I'll get off my self-help soapbox. And to answer your question, Mike, yes, I do think we do need to inflect new blood into the industry, whether that's doing cosmetic finishing up changes of a toolkit or a colorway, but spread the wealth, because it's a great time to be a basketball fan. It should also be a great time to be a fan of designer footwear or performance-based footwear.
Yeah. And you make a good point, man. This is, like I said, you got to give people a chance. And that first, you know what? The first one made it through. Let's see what that second, third one looks like. You just never know. And I just noticed something, not necessarily the Nike side of things, because Nike, I think they feel like they take more chances with the athletes and their signatures. But the Jordan brand side, I feel like if I was in that position to be a Jordan brand basketball, signature athlete, I would say, you know what? Can I just have PEs of the retros? Because I feel like it's almost like getting the scraps almost. So I'm looking at Jason Tatum's shoe. Again, it's not the best picture. It is kind of fuzzy. It almost reminds me, it looks like they took the Luka and say, hey, let's make the Luka tall, put this extra kind of protection on the side, because we see that Jason Tatum likes to get up and protect those feet. And it might be balancing on not balancing, but sitting atop a exposed Zoom bag. I'm not too sure. Again, this is a very first look. But I could say if we put the Luka and the Jason Tatum next to each other, called them nothing but Jordan brand performance, I would think, oh, Luka's the low, Jason Tatum's the high version.
Right. And it is interesting to me to see a Jordan brand take a swing, because in the way that we're so used to Jordan brand relying on retros and then giving those signatures to a few prestigious group of athletes. It's not necessarily been, you get a signature in the same way that, let's say, Nike basketball may have kind of molded the modern sensibilities of a player arsenal. Because I think for the longest time, it felt like this is the highest collection of talent that have got signature shoes from a Nike basketball perspective. And Jordan brand was always good to reflect the other side of the spectrum, where it was, okay, there's the flagship shoe, which if we're fortunate, they'll give us some player that they're going to tie it to for this upcoming season's performance. But very rarely would we see something outside of established stars, ironically, like your Chris Pauls or your Carmelos, because this current influx of young talent, like Tatum, Zion, Luka, I can't think of Jordan brand getting this young so quickly and so comprehensively. So that's been something fascinating to watch. And I am encouraged by that, because it does seem to me that Jordan brand is now thinking outside of MJ, which is saying something, because we can't think of any other brand that has such a large shadow being cast over every single one of its products when it's being released. Yeah. And kudos to Jordan brand for taking those swings. Like I said, we're going off of one pixelated, heavily sanitized photo. I mean, and I'm going to use what we like to call our psychologist words of I think, I feel, I know.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when we get a clearer picture, some of the uproar is going to subside.
Oh, for sure.
But I do think there is going to be left some room for improvement. But I mean that in the best way, because we still have to reward Jordan Brand for taking that step to that next level. Because the fact that we've killed them before for saying, why are you guys always relying on retros?
Yeah.
Except for the performance base. So now when they are actually listening to us as a fan base, then we can't fault them for that, because it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
Oh, yeah, you can't win in sneakers, man. Yeah. Everyone's always complaining about something. You're never going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. So that really rounds out our talk of the, new player signatures. I know Nike's going to have another one coming up with Devin Booker, so I'm guessing within the next couple weeks, couple months, we'll see a picture of that one popping up, because they're just rounding these bad boys off. And so we'll see that coming up. I'm sure we'll see the next model for everyone else as well.
Mike, I mean, if you don't mind me saying, the interesting thing that's going to be really wild to see is what you just kind of called out with Luka and Jason Tatum in terms of a similarity of shoe but a different cut. I do believe that the same designer is behind the Ja is also going to be behind not only the Devin Booker but the Sabrina Ionescu. So that's going to be a nice cross reference to see, okay, are we seeing similar characteristics of this particular designer style being carried out in not only one silhouette but three? Because I do think whether you know that or not, you are unintentionally or intentionally invoking in a new creative era. Yep. And I think to that point of if it hits and the design works for everybody, that's no greater feeling, because you not only caught lightning in a bottle, you caught it 3 separate times. Yeah. But if there's any bit of that feels forced or off, I do worry about that, because that's 3 times the missteps as well. So I applaud the big gambit. There's your other Marvel reference for the day, Mike, that Nike Basketball and Jordan are taking. But it's definitely one right now that we're going to see how this evolves, because like the season in basketball, the sport, the season in basketball performance footwear is still very young. So we kind of have to bite our tongues right now.
Yeah. And leaving off on that topic, I don't know if you've seen it yet. It is an independent brand out in, I want to say China, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. Have you seen those shoes, the series player only?
No, I haven't.
So check them out when you can. I know some of our listeners may have seen them pop up a lot on Instagram, but the shoe is very reminiscent of the Kobe 8, Kobe 9 low, and Kobe 11. And apparently this shoe is catching basketball world by storm. It is, I'm not going to lie, they're filling that void that Nike has not yet been, putting things back into with the Kobe. And I wouldn't be surprised, just kind of circling back, at the person who's designing this could find themselves in a position to be designing for, bigger brand later, because the shoe's solid and apparently it plays well from what I've seen. So just like you said, new talent coming not only from, the big brand, the big boys, Nike and Jordan, but even with, outside brands. You still look at brands like Adidas who are putting out a lot of signatures and some new, like I say, everyone's next model's coming soon. So I'm pretty interested to see what that looks like, because I guess with COVID and a lot of things, that normal calendar release of those next models has been kind of janky to say the least. But I know we got Harden's number 7 coming. I'm sure we got another KD.
We got a Trae Young as well.
Trae Young. Everyone has something coming along with our new teams. Like I didn't even realize Sabrina Ionescu is going to get a signature. So that's really cool. So I'm no matter how critical I am, I'm always excited to see a new model. I'm always excited to try out a new model. It just that's our job, to be critical. What?
I mean, I respect where you're coming from. I think we do have to be critical, but we also have to give flowers, because I think in our industry, we're so quick to say, oh, this shoe sucks because X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's not the corner of sneaker history as a podcast, as a community lives on. We're the nice guys of sneakers, for better or for worse. And I do think that one advantage that we have is we'll give you your kudos if you deserve it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that just initially seeing the serious player only shoe for the very first time as you and I are chatting, man, if nothing else, it gets me really hyped to see what Nike is going to do with Kobe, because I think you and I didn't discuss this prior to our pre-show meeting, but one of my biggest things I'm looking forward to this year is seeing the culmination of Kobe 2.0, so to speak, or 3.0, depending on how you want to view his entire Nike career, of what are they going to do? Because if I remember correctly, the 8s are up next. And I think for a lot of us, that was our Kobe shoe. That was the one that got us. And I know this. I have a decent amount of Kobe's. I'm not a collector in the sense that some of our community members or even other famous sneaker folk are, but the 8 just hits it a bit differently. And when you have iconic colorways like the Mamba Curial for the very first time, the Kobe 8s, I am just hoping there's enough for all of us. And please, Nike Basketball, please, Vanessa Bryant, just take us into account if you can.
Yeah, let's sell them things everywhere. Let's sell them at Academy. Let's sell them at Dick's Sporting Goods. Pick a store. Let's sell them there so we can all get our hands on them.
No, and the reason why I say this is because if the Kobe's aren't at the stock that we need, I can see some people trying these serious player onlys, especially the yellow and black colorway, because my goodness, there's a little bit of a Kobe 4, there's a little bit of a Kobe 8, and if there's one thing Kobe stands love, it's an amalgamation of styles, because I would make the argument that I think he almost popularized that what the concept from a basketball performance perspective.
Oh, yeah. No, I can definitely I second that with you, man. So speaking of, Kobe and the Pro coming back for a second coming, we're actually going to transition out of new basketball into old basketball with Jordan Reimagined. Now, I really don't have a positive or negative thing about it. I'm really in the middle because it really doesn't bother me so much. But as you guys have seen, starting with the Lost and Found Jordan 1 that came out around Christmas time. I know I'm acting like you guys don't know. Jordan Brand is looking to bring back this nostalgia by pretty much giving you a worn shoe, something that looks like it came from the archive, something that looks like they pulled from the vault from 1980, pick the year. And next up is going to be the Jordan 3 in the white cement colorway. But we have rumors of this train not stopping. So, Rohit, I really want to get your thoughts on it because I'm impartial, honestly. I'm cool with it, but I know there's a lot of division between older sneakerheads and younger sneakerheads who, they're always button heads to begin with, right?
Right. No, and the thing is, I famously said that if it's a Jordan 3 in the OG colorway, I'm going to buy it regardless what it is going to be construed as. I'm not necessarily one for the age look, but I also realize this is a young person's game, and I am now slowly moving into that advanced age where my opinion probably won't count as much. I like this Jordan 3, but I also am not a fan of the hype. So if I get my hands on it, great. If not, it's not going to break my day anymore because of the fact that we have to take that positive attitude around, hey, if you don't get it, hopefully somebody that's deserving gets it. And it's not going to be resale fodder where it's just sitting in a warehouse until somebody works up the courage to say, you know what, I'm willing to pay upwards of $400 for this colorway because that's not how it's supposed to go, but maybe it will. That being said, I am interested to see how long this fad, because right now I can't be convinced of anything other than the fact that this is a fad of age sneakers is going to go. So if I am wrong, I'm eating the biggest slice of humble pie because then they're going to retro every Jordan under the sun with this reimagined thing. And yeah, I will gladly take my L like that Floyd Mayweather meme does, where he's just throwing them out. But as of right now, I don't think it's long for this world. Mike, how are you feeling, though? Because I'm sure you have a nuanced take that I just haven't seen yet with this reimagined line.
Yeah, you know what? It's one of those things I'm on the same train of thought as you, where how long for this sneaker world is this fad? How long are people going to want their shoes, I guess, pre-distressed is the way they call it, pre-aged or whatever it is, because we come from the time where we wanted our shoes to be as crispy as possible for as long as possible. But again, I'm on the same train of thought of wear your shoes. Let them look at whatever. I mean, of course, if they're muddy, clean them off, but let them age naturally to have that look. So I guess I'm okay with either way, but I just want to know what happens when that trend ends. Like Nike, from a rumor, our Jordan Brand, both the same entity, are going to be riding this train at least till 2024, where we have rumors of this year holiday, instead of a Jordan 1 Chicago, we're getting Black Toe in a Reimagine. And then next year, my all-time favorite Jordan 1, the Royal, is going to come out in 2024 in a Reimagine. So they got me kind of by the heartstrings on that Royal because I really want that one. So I mean, regardless of, hopefully it's not patent leather, anything other than that, I'm going to try to get. But I've also heard rumors of a Jordan 11 Reimagine, which I hope they're not going for a worn look with patent leather, because that I don't see that one going well, but who am I, right?
So let me ask you, the old man in the club trying to be hip, trying to be suave, but realizing I'm hopelessly out of my depth. If these shoes are aged, does that mean the duration and the life cycle of the shoe is also shortened in a sense?
You know what? I wonder the same thing, because if you look at that, the Lost and Found one, for example, the ankle collar is like super cracked already. So, and let's say instead of the shoe lasting 10 strong years, am I down to like 5 years before it really just starts looking stupid?
No, I mean, almost as stupid as taking a bite while the other person's talking. So apologies.
Don't worry, I've been like sneaking slushy. I'm like,
no, but I guess kudos to Jordan Brand and Nike Brand for flipping on us and making us covet shoes that have a shorter shelf life. But that's where I really hope this is not a indicator of where fashion and where sneakers are going, because I get the distressed look is kind of in. I never was a fan for it. Like, I have this weird tendency of, I love a pair of jeans, but even if I see a strategically placed hole, it's not for me. Please get it out of my sight. I'm paying X amount for the whole jeans, not one that's missing like a patella. So I don't know. Like, it's going to be fascinating to me to see how long this fad continues, because why people would continue to do this, because I think we've always taken our scars, our scuffs, our frayed laces as badges of honor, because there's a story behind every single one of them. And It's interesting to me that we're now trying to artificially create those moments of luck or misfortune, depending on how you want to look at it. But yeah, I mean, more kudos to everybody involved, because if that's where the industry's headed, we'll begrudgingly go there lockstep. But yeah, not sure how this continues to go forward.
Yeah, my question about that is talking about, hey, I broke this shoe in, this is what happened, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. My most broken in pair of Jordan 1s is my metallic navies. I think I wore those, seemed like almost for like over a year straight. They're broken in to be the most comfortable Jordan 1 I own. And it's almost kind of, is the shoe already pre-broken into where it's now super comfortable, or is it just giving me the facade of, hey, we're going to scuff up the leather on the top layer, but you got to still do all the work. Now, I'm almost more inclined to say, if it's broken in, I'm cool, I'm ready to go, but what am I working with at that point?
No, but you would think that as well, Mike, because of the fact that if it is broken in on a cosmetic front, then I feel like you're doing a disservice. And if nothing else, word is going to travel far and wide from sneakerheads everywhere saying, you know what, these shoes aren't broken in. And maybe it's a sign of the times of how frequently we wear certain pairs in our collection, that the breaking in process is going to take longer, if not be completely non-existent. Because if you're wearing a shoe maybe once every 6 months, good luck breaking it in. It's never going to happen. So maybe that's something that's already been accounted for as well with these reimagined designs, because the thought is you're not going to wear these every day. So why is there even any effort to break these in?
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. But I mean, I never would have thought that Will Ferrell's Mugatu from Zoolander called it. The whole Derelict collection is literally what I'm looking at with clothes and shoes nowadays. I'm like, man, you guys want to look like hobos.
Derelict my balls is the punchline. And I know if Robbie was on this episode, he would have knocked that punchline out of the park. I probably got like a ground rule double, if I'm being very kind to myself. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. If nothing else, we'll support the young guns that are doing it, because these two old cats are not a fan of this.
No, I'm just here for my Royals. I guess I get them any way I can get them at this point, because I'm not paying more than $200 for a pair of them. You sickos on these websites are asking way too much money for this pair of shoes.
And I'm going to think about Victor Von Doom, because if I went to Victor Von Doom and said, you know what's hot, Victor? Pre-distressed sneakers, he would call me a fool with like 4 exclamation points. It would be like the all caps video from Mad Villain. All caps when that man says my name, when I bring these absurd statements to him. Exactly.
The Batman meme of just slapping the absolute mess out of it.
And then afterwards, I'll look at all the other 30-somethings and 40-somethings that are not swayed by this, and we're all the Spider-Man meme. So really, pick your favorite superhero meme, because it can be used to describe any facet of the sneaker industry today.
Oh, man. Well, guys, we did it in 40 minutes, maybe a little less. I think probably 30 after we edited it, but we want to keep it short, keep it, quick and easy for you guys today. It's just a couple of topics. But you guys, I haven't seen a comment since like July. What's going on? We need some New Year's resolutions to drop comments before I send them roll at them force right after y'all. Because I'm getting a little lonely out here without the comments. So guys, drop a comment, hit the like, join us, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram. You pick it, we're there. So go ahead and follow us. Of course, our cohorts, Nick and Robbie, will be back with us soon. So don't worry. We won't be running a 2-man game all the time. So we will have our 4-man crew back soon. But Roy, where can they find you, bud?
You can find me on Instagram at RoadM13. You can find me on Twitter at Roheezy. Like Mike said, it's a new year. Give us new memes to work with in the reviews, because if there's nothing else, we're going to work hard for you on that front, because Mike and I can talk about almost any facet of the shoe game for at least 30 minutes. No questions asked.
Easy.
It's where you guys give us that extra content that we like to work into these shows, if for no other reason, make our co-hosts giggle. So that's why I get up and I do this every day, is to make that man smile and the other two gentlemen who are not with us. So that being said, Mike, where can they find that $1 million smile of yours all across the digital landscape?
Everywhere. You can find me here, of course, on Sneaker History. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at MadWatcher789. And, of course, you can find me on YouTube at Mike Guillory. So across the multiverse of the internet, I'll be there.
And not only that, I will brag about my co-host, because, Mike, you have a new show as well, which for some of us that are early morning risers, talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm an early riser. You know, me and Roy have kids. We have families, so we're up before the sun anyway. But for my early guys and girls out there who like a little bit of coffee to start their day, every Friday morning, 8 a.m. Central Time, I got a show called Coffee and Kicks, or Coffee Time Kicks. I should know my own show. Coffee Time Kicks. And what it is just a very nice way to digest the week's sneaker news in a very easy manner where you're not having to go search it. I give you a few releases, maybe hopefully give you a few laughs. And this time, through high demand, I actually talk about the coffee I'm drinking. So go ahead, join me, 8 a.m. Friday morning. Let's talk some sneakers, drink a little caffeine, and get our day going.
Please don't sue him, Jerry Seinfeld.
Please don't sue.
Yeah, please don't sue. That's our goal. All right, well, if we have nothing else, thank you guys so much for spending your time with us, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Peace, everybody.